What's up? It's Curry Spice back with another video, and I'm here in Huntington Beach. Just got off that bus that's passing behind me, and back at the beach. Take a look. It's beautiful, gorgeous weather. Well, actually, it's not gorgeous weather for me, only because I prefer to be, I prefer it when it's hot or warm. I'm not much for cold weather, but looking out into the beach, it is beautiful. It's gorgeous. And I have a little over an hour to get to work. I'm going to be walking from here. So I've been thinking about what I want this episode to be about. I think I will talk about my expectations of marriage, because as some of you may know, I'm married and I have 2 kids, and the way marriage turned out to be versus what I expected is like 2 completely different things. I'm looking at a squirrel. It's like getting kind of close to me. But anyway, oh wait, maybe I could show you. See the squirrel? Yeah. It's getting kind of close. But anyway, so when I grew up, I expected marriage to be this kind of like this Cinderella kind of story where I would be struggling, and then I meet the love of my life, and he puts the glass slipper on my shoe or on my foot, and it's just living happily ever after and all that stuff. But then you walk off into the distance in the sunset, and you don't have a care in the world because everything is just peachy keen from there on out. And it's not like that at all. Marriage is not like that at all. You might have your honeymoon period where you love each other and you're sending love notes, and like when you're at work and you don't want to be away from your spouse for too long, and you're like, I miss you, and I miss you too, and I can't wait to come home so I can kiss you and give you a hug. And it's not so lovey-dovey in that way. Not all the time. Or at least, maybe in the beginning, but not so much 10, 15 years later in the marriage, I've been married for 16 and a half years, and I do have to admit it's been a challenge. It's been a challenge. My husband and I have struggled after the 2008 recession. We financially struggled, which shaped our lives. It changed us for the rest of our lives, that 2008 recession, and we're still struggling from it to this day, even though it's like 10 years later. That recession shaped the decisions that I make even today, and also shapes the decisions that my husband makes. I'm getting these pop-ups on my phone as I film this. But even the job that I currently have right now, I decided to go with this job because I didn't want to struggle. I guess you could say that I decided to go on this current job journey with the company I'm working with because of the 2008 recession. And because struggling in a desperate way, or just so like to experience that level of desperation, was very surreal. It was very scary, and it's still scary to this day, because it's like you can't really rely on any paychecks that come in. You can't really rely on it, because anything can change your status at any given moment. Anything. So there's nothing that should really be taken for granted. Nothing at all. And that's difficult in our lives, because we tend to take things for granted, because we think that everything is just, we think whatever is here today is going to stay tomorrow. And I wish that were true, but it's not. Unless you have something called power, where if something did happen that could be a detriment to your career, it wouldn't be much of a threat because of your status. You would be able to absorb the blow. And a lot of us cannot absorb a blow to that caliber. Unless you have power, then you can. I don't have power. I do not have power. My definition of power is maybe, I don't know, Oprah Winfrey. You know what I mean? That's what I see. Like, that's what I think of when I think of power. You know? Maybe even Bill Gates. I see him as having power. You know? But I'm still establishing myself. Yes, I have a bachelor's degree now, but I'm still establishing myself. I'm not where I want to be in my life right now. I'm not. And for some reason, I thought marriage would be like I didn't have to get a job if I didn't want to, but I could get a job, but it wasn't required. I didn't see marriage as struggling, like financially struggling especially. I saw marriage as a safety net where I could just, I'm not crying, I'm tearing up because it's kind of windy at the beach. But I saw marriage, and even still to this day, I see marriage as just not struggling. Yes, there's the 50-50 part of it as well, but there's also that part of marriage where there's no financial struggle. There's going to be struggle in marriage, but I don't expect there to be any financial struggle. I see people getting married because they don't want to financially struggle. But then, like how I am right now, where I'm getting myself out there, I'm building my career, I just got my bachelor's, and I'm just looking for self-betterment. And I also want to be with a partner who is also into self-betterment, because that's what life is all about. Life is about making sure you are in a better position this year than you were last year. You know, like I'm huge on evolution. I'm huge on progression, because I've come from poverty. I don't know any other way to say it. I've come from poverty, and I just, like, there's a saying, I'm not sure who, not exactly sure where it came from, but it's like, if you We're born poor, it's not your fault. But if you die poor, it's your fault. I think that's something to really think about, because that tells you right there that life should be about progression. Life should be about finding ways to survive, but not just surviving. We don't want to just survive. We want to thrive. We don't want to live from paycheck to paycheck, you know, and that's pretty much where I'm at right now. Even with the new job, with this current job I have, I'm at that living from paycheck to paycheck kind of way of living, and I'm tired of that, you know. And it's difficult to be that way in your marriage, like to be living from paycheck to paycheck while you're married. It's kind of like, what's the point of being married? You know what I mean? I mean, that's just the way I see it. I know some people probably won't agree with me. Some people probably won't agree with me, and that's fine. I understand completely. Like, you don't have to agree just because I'm putting this video out. Everyone has a different opinion. I'm open to other beliefs. As long as you're open to mine, and even if you don't agree, you could kind of sort of see where I'm coming from, and kind of put yourself in my shoes a bit. So you could do that at the very least, if you're not going to agree with everything I'm saying, or if you're not going to agree with anything I'm saying. But yeah, so in my marriage, I experienced that struggle, and then that kind of made me resentful. That made me resentful of the marriage to some degree, because of the mentality that I came into the marriage with, about, you know, like marriage is about the knight in shining armor coming to save you, and that marriage is about love too. I'm not saying it's not about love. It's all about the man saving the woman. I'm not saying that. Marriage, for me, I can't tell someone else what marriage should be to them, but I could just tell you for myself that I love falling in love, and I fell in love with my husband. You know, I fell in love with my husband, and that's why I married him. It wasn't for money. I didn't marry my husband for money. And my husband did evolve in our marriage. He did evolve. But then somewhere in the 2008 recession, something happened and kind of knocked him off balance. But he's trying to get himself back together now, and I'm trying to get myself back together. But I am doing pretty good for myself. It's just a slow progress. It's a slow process, because college is not instant gratification by any means. And I think that's why certain people were kind of looking at me side-eyed, like, and I don't want to give any names, but one person in particular was like, why are you putting all your emphasis in college? You need a job now, you know? And I get that. Trust me, I get that. But college is the way to establishing a career. I think some people shy away from college because it creates more debt than it does create income. College does not create income unless you work full time for a college, you know, and you're getting benefits. But if you're a student, you're not going to generate income at the college. You'll create debt, if anything. But if you play your cards right, you might be able to get some scholarships where you get a free ride, that's an incredible scenario right there. And the higher your GPA is, the better, so you can get as many scholarships as possible. But But yeah, so that's pretty much where my head is at. I have misconceptions about marriage. Do I regret getting married? No, I wouldn't say that. I don't regret getting married. I just wish that I knew everything that I know now before I got married. So that way I know exactly what I'm getting into, instead of just thinking like walking off into the sunset holding hands with my husband, like, oh, okay, like there's not gonna be any more problems for here on out. Like, we're just gonna die when we're 117, and we'll both die together and get buried together, and like there's just gonna be no more problems. And it's not that simple. I really wish it were that simple, but it's not. And I feel like these movies that they put out there, like Cinderella, brainwashes girls into thinking that marriage is one way. It's this lovey-dovey way where there's no problems anymore, and you could just live your life and die with a smile on your face. But it's really not like that. Marriage is just the beginning. Like, being newly married is just the beginning. And it takes a lot to keep a marriage going strong. You get arguments all the time because women usually are on one wavelength, men are on a different wavelength, and then you got the man leaving the toilet seat up. And no, I'm not saying all men do that, but I'm not trying to generalize. But there are certain men out there who leave the toilet. Whoa, this squirrel is getting close to me. What's going on? What is this? I was starting to get scared for a second. I'm like, what? I got attacked by a squirrel. But yeah, I just there's issues in marriage because we have the love language, and the 5 different love languages, and some men don't realize that. Like, some men don't understand that women tend to speak a different love language than men do. So my husband might require one thing to feel that he is loved and desired, but then I might need something completely different, and I believe one of my love languages is acts of service. Acts of service. I forget what my husband's is. We took the quiz a long time ago, but we're gonna have to take that quiz over. But I think one of his top ones. One of his top languages is like physical touch. I think that's one of his top ones. But and just needing validation, and I forget the name of the other one, but it's just needing validation and knowing, just getting that reassurance that I care, that's his language. But yeah, so I just wanted to talk to you guys about this. I was trying to not make this video long, but it ended up turning out to be long. But if there's something more that you want me to cover about this, if there was maybe a part of the conversation that I didn't get into, please let me know. And I would love to make a second video about this topic because it's very deep-rooted, and it's definitely a lot of bases to cover. So I'm gonna start heading to work. I have maybe about 50 minutes left. 40 minutes to get there. So in the meantime, I'll be excited to spice up your lives one episode at a time.